Hey everybody, it's Friday and getting back into the swing of things after our Thanksgiving break and being away in Seattle for a couple days. Definitely need to work on my setup up there. I don't know if you caught the live on Wednesday, but anyway, I'm back in the studio with Kendall by my side. And I am going to just art journal today.
Literally by your side today.
And let's see, what noteworthy today? Today is Fodder Club from 3 to 5. And just a little preview, we're going to be cutting shapes and then doodling on top of them. I think we'll paint them first. Paint and then doodle, something like that, okay. Chalky paint. Maybe we'll do a paper artsy day where we just use paper artsy paints. And then tomorrow is the Peace and Joy, I think it's called, 49 Market flip book, which is this cute little flip book. If you come back at 1, I'll do a little demo of it. You can see what it's all about, and I'll show you the kit that goes with it because there's quite an extensive kit of things that you get. And let's see, yeah, there's some more. I've got some new classes. I have handmade paper up on the schedule for December. I thought that'd be a nice gifty thing, and a little pocket planner, a small version of the book binding I usually do. So yeah, things to check out here at the shop, as well as just our regular hours, 12 to 5, Tuesday through Saturday, and then we're open until 7 on Friday. All right, so I'm just gonna get started. All my stuff. Okay, let me get this. I've got this set up a little differently today, and then I gotta fuss with it. Yeah, I think that's right. There we go. And I just have stuff in front of me. I'm not gonna think too hard about it. Here's some eye zinc dye spray. This color is French. Ooh, I forget that this one has a scent. Strong blue clair. I think that means blue sky. Field? I don't know. I might be wrong. And then this one is blue pastel. Same thing, same formula. I think just slightly different color. I don't know if you can see the difference there. Hopefully you can. This is Lindy's Stardust. So the Lindy's Stardust colors are mica. Ooh, that one's sort of turquoisey. It's pretty. You can see I'm having issues with the fact that this is clogged a little bit. That's because I don't clean my my spray caps. This one was Tibetan Poppy Teal. Yeah, that would have been Here's Autumn Maple Crimson. So that's interesting because it looks to me like it's pink, but let's see what they mean by. Oh no, that's a slightly reddy crimson. Interesting. Let's see, is there another brand in here? All right, come on. This is this Villainous Potion? No, Dusty Concord. This is the, so this is opaque, right? And hopefully you can see the difference. Like that's what happens when you use a Distress Oxide. The opaqueness, it obscures. I just realized that I don't have my heat gun. Damn it. Okay. Darn it. Darn it.
You want to get it?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Just grab whatever else on top. This one is, oh, you can really see the mica in this one. This is, again, the eye zinc pearly, and it's orange pastel. And you can really see, I don't know if you can see it in the, hopefully you can in the video, but very bright color. Lots of mica in that one. Thanks, I appreciate it. Okay. My heat gun has miraculously appeared in my hand. We were too busy gossiping as I set up, obviously. Gotta watch it.
It's been a while since we've seen each other.
So that was literally me just throwing down some sprays and seeing how they interact. These are all water soluble. which means that they will re-react when I spray something or put something wet down on top of them. But it's worth noting that though that is true, the paper has absorbed some of the tint, so some of it will not change. And you can see some of them have mica in them, some of them don't. And so you can kind of see the mica shifting around where it's pooled on the paper. What I like about it, part of what I like about it. Part of the meditation of this work is this moment of waiting and watching everything dry on the page. You can see I have not primed this page, and so it's wrinkling a little bit. That's what happens.
Is that what you want to wait for here?
This is not. This is one of the journals that I was planning to bring in. I think I'll confirm it at the bottom. I think it's a Canton journal. I don't sell it yet, but it's one of the ones that I have on my to order list, which I forgot I need to order. That mixed media journal that I referenced the other day. I already have a little bit of an oil slick effect that has appeared because of the colors, the way they mix that blue and the red together. Oil slick with the metal on top gives it that impression. Okay, so I pulled out, it's not completely dry, but I'm too impatient to wait. Ooh, looks like I have not been taking care of my texture paste. Yeah, that is too gooey. That is not gonna go down well. So I'm just gonna scrape that up. Not scrape it up, but scrape it around. Do you see how it's sort of rolled up into little rubbery bits? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not mad at myself. And then there's that one, which is completely dry. Boy, I am batting 1,000 today. Let's see about this one. This is my matte. Oh, did I not put out a palette knife? All right, so I just grabbed my palette knife and I'm gonna use that to scoop it out. And this is one of my metal palette knives. I do sell metal palette knives. And you can see you can use them to scrape if you want, but I just really genuinely prefer the effect I get when I use my squeegee. My silicone wedge is what this is called officially. And this is the opaque matte, which is very, like, genuinely like frosting or Crisco, maybe. One way to think of it. Crisco texture. I always thought that this would make good fake snow, which I am working on my Tim Holtz Village samples, and maybe I'll use this for some fake snow at some point. Okay.
I don't see the village. Are you not doing a class with the village?
No, that was last weekend, but I am making my own personal samples. So maybe I can show that off later. I'll show the one that I have in progress right now. We're kind of cute. And this is opaque matte, so it's going to stay this sort of frosty white color, even when it's dry. Some of them dry to a transparent matte or a transparent gloss. See what I have now. So one thing I do like to do sometimes, I haven't done this so much recently, is just, colors is to take a paint, and drag it over texture. Because depending on how you work with it, I could also brayer it down as well, but if you drag it over the texture, sometimes it interacts with the texture in a way that didn't actually do that. That's a better example of what I was looking for. This one just went ahead and obscured what I had down. This one, again, this is just me playing, so it doesn't matter, but probably has a lot to do with the fact that there wasn't anything on there. So this is a sort of matte texture, so it's going to absorb. That's kind of what I was looking for, was something that sort of highlights the texture. So looks like I have to have paint on it first for it to do what I want. Where you get more paint in between your texture, so you get the sort of highlight, ghosty image over the texture. That's what I was going for. Like a good bright color like that. Little distress oxide, again opaque color, fluid. It's a quick and easy way to change the color of your page and to layer up. But it's going to interact with the color, the layers underneath. Ones that are not acrylic paint. So these were acrylic paints that I put down here, so they'll interact differently from the paints that are not acrylic, that are water-based, and will so you can see this hydrated what was on the page, and so I've got some interaction happening there. Part of what I like. down now is some ice. I haven't used ice in a while. See if I can find one. Yeah, here's a yellow ice. These are those translucent colors that go down. Yeah, I love these a lot. This is my favorite color, which means, of course, that I'm out of stock because everybody likes it. It's just sort of this olivey color. Pretty sure I'm out, or no, this one's I'm out of stock in. That's what it is. This turquoise, glacier green. You know, this company is French, and it genuinely does come from France. So this color is the Greenland. And so, yeah, it's been held up along with everything else in the world. I went in to get my seasonal, let's see, what is it called? Eggnog latte the other day, and they said they're not doing it this year. And I was like, what? And he blamed it on the global supply chain issues. I had a moment of like, but then I was like, I actually know it's true, so I can't exactly about it, but yeah, no eggnog lattes this year, which my gut will probably.
Make it yourself? Just have a little...
Yeah, you can. It's just not the same.
I'll make you one.
I mean, you know, soon enough we'll have a coffee shop locally that'll make whatever we want, right? That's the dream. So this is a clear matte acrylic medium, so it will dry and it will be slight translucent so you can see through it, but it's also got a little tint, so where it's thicker that color will show up. And it's also textural, so it's going to dry and stay the shape that it is. And it's going to seal whatever's underneath it in place. Let's see what happens if we then now throw down some, flooding some color over it to see what happens. That color had some mica in there too, so you're going to see some shine. Now, mica is a mineral that has a base and then an edge. Little flakes is really what it is. And so it moves around. That's why you get the shimmer with mica. It's because it moves around. And the shimmer is the flat side. And the edge side is actually dull. So when you move a piece and see the shimmer, that's it reflecting off the facet side, or the flat side. And because it's sitting on top of something acrylic, these are taking a little longer to dry because they're not getting absorbed. They're literally drying on top of a acrylic skin. That was the green one. Now I'm going to try this turquoise one. I'm going to do this one. This is a fairly new, clean stencil, so you can see that I'm getting a nice impression through it.
Do you know whose stencil that is?
That was a Paper Artsy, pretty sure. Or Darkroom Door. Actually, it might be Darkroom Door.
What's the number on numbers?
Numbers, yeah. I can tell you where it is on the straw. So here I'm starting to get those interactions that I like so much, where you can see that, you know, some color is sealed in underneath the matte or the clear medium. Here's the purple and the eyes ink spray. This one's called Violet Pastel. And again, do a little flooding. See what happens. This has a mica sheen into it as well. You'll see that. Whew, it just smells like, it smells like hairspray, like old-fashioned 1980s hairspray. Yeah, that's what it smells like. Like set, you know, when you spray it onto a hot iron. Yeah. You can see some of that medium was bubbling a little bit, some of the ice medium under there. This might be one that I do work over a couple of weeks. Ah, there we go. See what I'm talking about? Where you can scrape in and it highlights the texture you have going on. That's what I want when I do this. Now. That is very chunky right there. You can see how just that thin layer that I had left when I scraped it over here, it pulled out some of this texture that was sitting there. Again, one of the things that I love about using texture, and I can show you a little bit of that again this way. I'm just gonna, oop, I did not mean to do so much. I'm just gonna dab a little paint onto the edge of my wedge and drag it across that texture, and if I'm careful enough, I can get a little highlighting that way. And you
select colors, are you do you do it visually, or do you just kind of feel or have an instinct what you should color?
Sometimes I just grab whatever's closest. You know, and then if I don't, because I just know if I don't like it, I'm going to put another color over it. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I think, oh, now I'm going to have to layer up again because I hate what happened there. But, you know, I think contrast sort of, it helps to have a color that you know, sits on top and then it's contrasty. So I will look for contrast intentionally. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think, oh, that's too dull, I don't want to put that down. Yeah. That's usually, if I pick up a color then put it back down again, it's almost always because I'm like, that's gonna look dull in this. But like, so I keep picking up this color and thinking, no, it's not gonna work. But if I were using whites and creams and maybe some pinks, this might look really great with that. Yeah. So, you know, I can see holding it against my page too, that I'm like, no, that's not what I want. So that's instinctual. Cool spray here. Okay, so what I have is some of that pink left, and I have this nice, normally I don't use my stencils with just paint because they're too chunky for it. You know, if my stencils are compromised, then I'm not going to get a really super great impression, which doesn't matter if I'm using texture paste, because the whole point of the texture paste is it stands off, and even if I squish them underneath it, I'm still going to get that texture. But if I have, you know, if I'm just using paint, then what I'm going for is the actual impression of the stencil. And so you really want your stencil to be flat and clean to do that, which is almost never the case, but since this is new, I did actually get a pretty good impression from it. And so here's that idea of like, if you use the same stencil over and over and over again on top of each other in different colors and different textures, then you end up with a sort of bokeh effect, which is sort of a reflection, echoey effect. Let's see. See, that's just a smudge because it didn't lie flat. It wasn't lying flat. So I'm just gonna scrape that up and try it again over here. So now I'm gonna switch to texture paste and use texture paste with this instead. Keep forgetting I don't need gobs of it. So here's the opaque matte that I used at the very beginning. Coming back and using it through the same stencil that I've laid down in a lot of different spots already. Maybe even overlapping spots I've already done to create that bokeh effect.
What do you think of bokeh effect?
Bokeh effect. So bokeh effect is actually...
Wait, can you spell that?
B-O-K-U-H. Bokeh.
Oh, is it Japanese?
I don't know, but it's a... And don't quote me on the spelling because I might be completely off, but it is a photography effect where you photograph something in a way that it's like you're looking through a rain-splattered window and the lights in the background flare. So it create depth because, you know, they're off in the distance and then there's lights in front, and so you get these flares in front of each other. And so that's the kind of idea. You get the sort of echo of the stencil sitting on top of itself.
Yeah, I see.
Did I spell it right?
B-O-K-E-H.
Almost. Bokeh. That's what it is. Bokeh effect. There might be a technical, actual, you know, definition of it, even. But yeah, bokeh effect.
It's the aesthetic quality of the blur produced in out of focus parts of an image.
Oh, well, that's... That's one way to describe it. Yeah, so I guess there's more technically about making something out of focus, and so when you layer things on top of each other, it sort of automatically pushes it backwards, which creates that sort of perception of blur. Maybe it's how I'm working with it. But there's a stamping technique that you can use where you layer stuff on top of each other using blending brushes, blending sponges. So this is kind of this is why I like having texture on top of texture on top of texture, because now I'm starting to get those interactions, and some of it's been trapped under some of the acrylic, and so I'm getting these moments that have been preserved underneath layers of new color, and that's the sort of thing that makes me super happy. So I'm gonna try dragging some of this blue over some of this stuff, seeing what happens, and then maybe we'll call it quits because it's been a half an hour. So I'm not using a texture right now, or a stencil, I'm just dragging this over texture that already exists on my page. And I don't know if you can see how it's highlighting, and this is a great medium for this because it is darker when it's thicker, and so it's going to be thicker in those wells between the texture. So it really is going to do what I want, which is to highlight the pattern of the texture that I put down. So you can see here, I've obscured some of my texture just with how much is going on. So let's see what happens if we put down some of this ice on top. You see how it pops that back up, and you can suddenly see the stencil that I had under there? Got a little chunky bit. So that's what I love. Genuinely, that's the most amazing part about these ices is using it in this way, where you pull it down across some texture and let it interact with those valleys that the texture has created for you. And then, so that's going to create depth too. And it's going to seal some of that color in. Look at that! I love it. Okay, not a bad start. I don't know if it's finished or not. Honestly, if I had my druthers, I'd probably just keep playing. But I have things to do. Unfortunately, we've got reels to make and promotions to plan. But so I'm gonna call it quits for today. But hopefully you got inspired to pull out your mediums and all your stuff today and make a mess for yourself. And yeah, I hope got a fair amount on my hands, which is a good indication that I've been arting. And yeah, just a reminder, Fodder Club at 3 and the waterfall project tomorrow. And yeah, open from 12 to 7 today. So hopefully I'll see you here. Okay, bye everyone.
Beth says thank you.
You're welcome, Beth. It's nice to see your name pop up.